Site Modeling Video 1. In this demonstration video, we will create a generic site for our 34 by 34 guest house. In the future, you will create a custom site based on the location and the site of the building in which you are designing. For now, though, we will create a generic site, and I will show you the steps to do so. But know in the future, you will be required to create a site which is exactly to the specific location of the building site. Alright, so to create a site around your building, we will need to locate the site plan. Now the site plan is similar to a floor plan, but it only shows the contour of the land as well as the landscaping properties. Before we begin our site, you need to locate the Properties browser and click on the View Range. And we will take the view depth and change it to unlimited. So no matter how much slope down your soil is, you will be able to see the entire site. So the view depth, how far down we can see, is unlimited. Alright, and I'm going to hide this superimposed plan. Alright, and you should see something like this. So for your site plan, we are going to begin by inserting all of the soil that is underneath the home. Before we do so, I'm going to click on this refrigerator, and I'm going to turn off this label that we see. And I'm going to do the same for the microwave. You may have this issue as well. If you have any of these labels, you'll click on Edit Type, and you'll turn off the show label. All right. Next, we will change the detail to fine detail, and we will change the graphic options to shaded. All right, and we will need to hide the roof with the glasses because we want to be able to see the edge of the building, not just the overhang. All right, so now I can see the footprint of my building. And what I'm going to do, this is how I proceed with the site plan when I'm creating a generic site plan. We want to have a series of model lines evenly spaced around the home so that we can place our contour points in an organized way. If you have a custom site based on a specific location, you may have the site as a import, and you may not have to do this. And if you do have to build the site, that would be another lesson for another day, and you may not need a grid system. But for now, we're going to create a grid system with model lines. I'm going to change the lines to something a little bit thinner. I'm going to choose thin lines for my line style. And then I'm going to click on the upper left corner of the home. And this isn't an exact thing. You're going to sort of model this after me, but yours may be a little different, hopefully not too much. I'm going to zoom out and draw a 100-foot line. All right, and I'm going to take that line and I'm going to copy it multiple times across the site. So I did this in a previous video. You click and drag as far as you can till you get outside the screen. And I'm going to space these lines every, let's say, I'm going to go 4 feet. So I'm going to continue typing 4 and pressing enter. Once you get a good amount, we can press escape and we can copy the group. So I'm going to highlight every line, press copy, and then I'm going to click the one line I left out and did not select and choose that as my base point. And I'm going to drag over and choose the last line that's already there, and that copies the bulk. Alright, so now I'm going to take this bulk of lines that I copied, and I'm going to mirror those lines across the original line. Alright, well, this is not an even amount symmetrically, it's just a grid system. It's not something to really overthink. We just need to have a good evenly spaced grid system so that we can draw our site or plot our site on these points. So we're going to need intersection of lines, so I'm going to copy again. I'm going to have multiple copies, double check that, move my mouse, click and move it up. Do not click second time. Go 4 feet all the way down. I'm going to get it out to about the same spot where my lines end. Again, there's no counting this and making it exact, just get it close. I'm going to copy and I'm going to mirror. Okay. I missed one, but I know it's 4 feet, so I'll just copy it down. 4, enter. Okay. And now I'm going to use my extend command, and I'm going to make multiple lines extend at once. I'm going to click on the multiple elements, trim extend. Alright, so my first is my reference where I want my lines to move to, and then my second point is going to be my line. So I'm going to highlight those lines, and then multiple lines will copy at once. Same thing for up here. I'm going to click this baseline. Click the multiple trim extend. Actually, you need to click the command first, and then click the model lines. The model line, and then my second click will be the highlight of all of these lines all the way across. So there's 1, and then there's 2. And there they are. I'm going to need to extend the rest of these lines over as well. So I'm going to click on the trim extend, click on the end line, and then highlight the rest. And when I press enter, or escape rather, excuse me, I have my grid system. Alright, so this will be a temporary set of lines that we use to create the site. These are thin lines. They come up, they're not green. It may be that we'd rather have green lines. Now that I see this, I may decide that this is not what I want. So let me just highlight some. Let me go back to regular, see what that looks like. Yeah, that might be better. Let me highlight these, modify style, go to regular lines. Alright, and I have my green. Okay, so some of my original model lines from the first few videos, I left them in. They're not going to bother anything. Or we can delete them first, doesn't matter. Alright, so let's get on the site. We're going to click on the Massing and Site tab, and this is going to be where we select all of the site components for the site. So here's our Topo Surface button. This will create the contour of the land, as you see here on the window that pops up. You can create the contour of the soil. No home would have a perfectly flat site. There would always be some taper away from the house so that water drains correctly. It may be just a few inches, or it could be several feet, but we definitely want to have a sloping site. Okay, so we're going to click on Topo Surface, and we're going to add elevation points. And when we have a triangle, 3 points, land will connect underneath those 3 points. And we can click multiple points across the whole site. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Remember, we made our first concrete slab at -1 inch. That was in the first video. And we're going to place our soil a little bit below that, but not much. Our outside slabs are 4 inches below. So we can make a plot point no higher than, let's say, 5 inches below 0. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's make our first point at -5 inches. All right, so I'm going to click on every corner of my house at this point. So whether it's connected by a line or not, I'm clicking on the edge of the house. Same with the inside corner here, my outside corner here, outside corner here, and you'll see the soil start to form underneath. My porch isn't showing. I'm not sure why, but it will be. Your porch should be here, and you may not see this very well. So that's 0.5, and then now every point beyond these corner pieces needs to be lower than 0.5. It can be, we can go ahead and go down a few inches more, or we can leave it just 1 inch below this, but it needs to be less than 5. I'm going to go ahead and go, let's say, -8 inches. All right. We won't see much of a contour here, but I'm going to go ahead and just give it a boundary, just a few grid marks away from where we were. I like to line things up in a square or a rectangle, just so I know which points are which, because you can't see the labels. There's no labeling on these. So the only way to know what the point is to click Modify and select the point, and then you can see up here what the elevation is above or below the finished floor line is what we're working with. All right, so let's go ahead and add a few more points just to see what we've got. So click Place Point. I'm going to go ahead and go let's go 4 feet. All right, so a decent drop. So the closer I put this point to this point, the steeper the hill will be. The farther away I place this point from this point, the less steep the hill will be. So it's literally just a rise over run. It's kind of like a roof when we set that up. So I'm going to give it a little bit of spacing around the house. And then maybe I say I want to have a steep hill on this front corner. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to go back and click again. And then I'm going to work my way up and keep it even. All right. Let's go ahead. Let me just show you the drop that we can have. I'm going to go -10 feet, and I'm going to surround the back of the site with -10. And I'll show you in 3D how that looks. And then I'm going to go to the front, and I'm going to make it farther away so that the hill is less steep. And I'm going to let you see the difference in the two. All right, so I'm going to click the green check, and that makes my soil finished. I'm going to go to my 3D view, and I need to hide some things here. I'm going to hide the elements, and you see when I spin the site, my -10 that was right here on the back, or on the front, excuse me, is much farther down than, say, this corner here. So it's all about how you shape the site. If you have a mountainous site, you're going to really have to dig in and plot these points correctly so that you get the result you're looking for. If you want to have a large yard, you would definitely want to add more points. I put all of these lines here with the intent of filling them in with plot points. So if you ever place your site and you finalize your site like I just did, and you want to add more points, you would not create a new site now. You would select the site that you created, and you would edit the surface. And then you would go back to your site plan and add more points. All right, so finish that up and check out the next video.